Has it been long enough since our last grocery challenge? I think so. $15, heading to the grocery store, and we're going low carb. Here is everything that I picked up for our grocery challenge. Starting with the meat, I bought just over a pound of boneless pork for $2.75. That is 1.24 pounds. Also, over 3.5 pounds of chicken legs for $2.29. That was originally $10.82. And then 1 pound of regular ground sausage for $1. It was originally $4.39. I also picked up a regular price can of green beans. That ended up being 65 cents. Regular price for one bunch of cilantro was 79 cents. Also a zucchini. This ended up being 61 cents. The cabbage was 79 cents a pound, and this is 2.97 pounds, so $2.35. The yellow onion was $1.49 a pound. This is just over half a pound for 80 cents. I also bought 2 limes. For the green pepper, I paid 79 cents. And then for some clearance produce, this is 1 pack of cucumbers. There are 2, 4, 6. There are 6 baby cucumbers in here for 31 cents. And then I also have a combination pack here of some Roma tomatoes and 1 avocado. And the total was $1.22 on that. So the first thing I'm going to do is work with some of this pork. I'm probably only going to use half of it, and I'm going to put it on the grill. But first, I want to make a cilantro lime marinade. So I'm going to use some apple cider vinegar, cilantro, lime, and some olive oil. And then if I had fresh garlic, I would use that. But I'm going to just use some garlic pepper. Most people have that on hand. I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of olive oil and a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. I'm going to just use half of this pork and put it down into the marinade. Leave the other half for tomorrow's dinner. We're gonna let this sit for at least 30 minutes before we put it onto the grill. Next, I'm going to make some cilantro lime slaw. I'm going to use half of my other lime, some more cilantro, and about a quarter of our cabbage. I actually need a bigger bowl. So we're gonna transfer this over. Okay. I'm also going to season this with about a teaspoon. Let's do about half a tablespoon of cumin. And then we're going to use some mayo. This is all up to your personal preference, however creamy you like for it to be. The cumin totally makes this dish. It is vital, I feel like. Otherwise, it's just a standard coleslaw with a little bit of hint of lime. But once you add that cumin in there, it is so delicious. You might want to add a little bit of salt to this, maybe some pepper. Again, that's up to your personal preference, but go ahead and taste it and see if you like how it tastes without the salt. This cilantro lime slaw is really good tapped on tacos or different things, but as a salad, that was perfect. It had the dressing, the flavor, it was great. Next, we're going to make some pork tacos with cabbage leaves, guacamole, and pico de gallo. So good. I really wanted to try this chili lime seasoning that I had bought from Trader Joe's, but it's not necessary at all. Just use regular taco seasoning, and if you don't have a mix, you can definitely make it yourself with some ingredients that you might have on hand. So I will leave a recipe link down below for some taco seasoning. For the cabbage, you're going to want to peel away some of the leaves. Do not chop them, leave them whole, and then boil them in some water. Make sure they're completely submerged. You could just use regular chopped up tomatoes to top on the tacos, but I love pico de gallo, which is just a little bit of onion, diced tomatoes, and then cilantro makes it amazing. You can also squeeze in some lime, salt, and if you really want to get fancy, you can put some garlic powder or garlic salt in there. Once the pork was seared on both sides, I added some water, covered it, and let it simmer. I wasn't able to film this part, but I made some guacamole out of the avocado. I just used some of the lime juice and garlic pepper. And then for the cabbage, I had put that into some hot boiling water and let that get a little bit softer. And then I put that right into cold water. That is what we used for the taco shells. Tonight we're going to go ahead and use half of the chicken legs, and I'm going to put them on the grill with some barbecue sauce. So first I want to just use about a tablespoon of barbecue sauce and dilute it with a little bit of water. And then I'm going to put the chicken legs in this. Next, I'm going to slice up the cucumbers to make a cucumber salad. And I'm also going to slice some onion and some of our tomato for that. I remember growing up in the summertime, this was a staple in our home. My mom would always make cucumber tomato salad. She would use an apple cider vinegar and some olive oil or some kind of oil and mix that in together, I think with a little bit of sugar. It's also really good with Italian dressing. It's even good with ranch dressing if you don't have anything else. If you have a little bit of mayo and milk and maybe some spices, you could throw that in there. I'm going to use ranch because I think that's what my boys are going to prefer. But again, you use whatever you want. Put some cucumber tomato salad on everybody's plate. And then we still have some left over along with 2 more cucumbers, plenty more onions, more tomato. With the other half of the chicken, I'm just gonna put it onto a sheet pan, and then I'm gonna make like an Asian sauce with a little bit of honey, about a tablespoon of honey, about a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, just about a teaspoon of some garlic powder, garlic pepper, steak seasoning, whatever you have that has a little bit of garlic in it will be fine. And then I like to add a little bit of heat. This is going to be basically sriracha. If you have that, this is a garlic chili sauce. There's just no sugar in this. And I'm going to use about a tablespoon. We just really like this. This is definitely optional, but it's going to give it a unique flavor, not just spice. Something else you could use if you don't have that would just be some chili flakes if you enjoy that flavor. This is also really good with just Frank's. I know it sounds odd, but it's going to give it a different flavor than this, but it is still very good. So while my oven is preheating, that's why I've got the sauce done. I'm going to set that aside, get this into the oven for a little while, and then once this is about halfway cooked, I'm going to start glazing it with that sauce. For the side dish, I decided to use the entire zucchini that we bought. I just sliced it into spears, but you could do chopped or however it is that you prefer to have your zucchini. I just put that into a skillet with a little bit of water to let that steam, and I added some soy sauce and garlic powder. The cilantro is not a really important ingredient for this dish, but we have it and I love it. So I decided to chop it up and I can use it to top on the chicken once everything was plated. For the last dish, I'm just going to be making some kind of Cajun sausage soup thing with all of the ingredients we have left over. I'm starting by getting our tomatoes into a pot with some water and let those cook. And then I'm going to be taking care of our vegetables. We've got about half an onion left over I'm going to dice up, also an entire bell pepper. So we're going to get that put into the pot and let that saute with some oil. I'm also throwing in some of the chopped up cabbage that we have. Honestly, this kind of soup, or any soup really, is awesome because you can throw in whatever you have. So if you're dealing with a low budget and you open up your fridge, use whatever vegetables you have. So to the sauteed onion, I'm just going to be adding the sausage, the entire roll that we have, just checking on the tomatoes, but add a ton of seasoning to this. If you have Italian, do it. If you have Cajun, definitely do Cajun. You have taco seasoning, that's great too. So there's really an unending opportunity for this. Tomato paste is great in this, but if you don't have it, don't worry. You can use tomato sauce or just leave it out completely. Here I'm just mashing up the cooked tomatoes. This is peel, seed, and all. And then we're just going to be adding some Cajun seasoning to it as well. That's just going to help give it more of a flavorful tomato situation like you might find at the grocery store. If you haven't noticed already, taco seasoning and Cajun seasoning are two of my favorites to flavor soup with, and you can get that Cajun seasoning for $1. The can of green beans were actually supposed to go with another meal, but I had forgotten that I had them, and then I just added them to the soup. So you could end up adding more water and make this stretch even further. My husband and son don't really prefer soup, so I just made it thicker, but this ended up making 8 servings as is and would stretch more with more water. Thanks for hanging out with me for another extreme grocery budget challenge. I hope this was fun and inspirational for you. And if you have any ideas, let me know. What would you do with $15 for a low carb budget? My favorite meal this time around was definitely these tacos with the cabbage leaves for the shells. Oh my gosh, so good. But second was definitely the Asian chicken legs. If you like content like this, make sure to leave this video a big thumbs up, share it with some friends, and also subscribe because I will be doing more of these as always in the future. And until the next video, I will see you in the comments.